The Path of the Wind. Introduction. In a small village in India, the rainy season had just ended, and the landscape was lush with greenery. The rainy season had just ended, and the landscape was lush with greenery. Secretly, he had feelings for a woman. That woman was Ananda, the most beautiful and admired woman in the village. That woman was Ananda, the most beautiful and admired woman in the village. Playing in the sunlit fields, Vishwa would watch her from afar, thinking to himself, "If I could just be with her, my life would be so much happier." That thought grew stronger each day, filling his heart. Yet, he never had the courage to speak to her. Just imagining standing beside her made him feel she was someone far beyond his reach. Act 1. Doubt and Longing. One day, while walking through the village market, Vishwa saw Ananda happily talking with another young man. His chest tightened with pain, and his heart filled with unease. Every time she laughed, he questioned why he couldn't approach her, blaming himself for his weakness. Why does this hurt so much? Why does not being with her feel so unbearable? That night, Vishwa lay awake, eyes closed, thinking about Ananda. The more he thought of her, the more jealousy and insecurity flooded his mind, suffocating him. If she ends up with someone else, what will I do? Am I really going to let her slip away without doing anything? These thoughts consumed him day and night. Act 2. Meeting the Old Man. One evening, Vishwa walked to a small river on the outskirts of the village, hoping the tranquility of nature would help clear his mind. There, he encountered an old man, unknown to him, sitting under a tree, staring at the flowing river. Without a word, Vishwa sat down next to the old man, also gazing at the river's current. After a long, silent pause, the old man spoke. "Young man, it seems you carry something heavy in your heart." Vishwa was startled but found himself unable to hide the weight of his thoughts. He began to speak slowly, revealing what had been troubling him. "I'm in love with a woman named Ananda. I dream of being with her, but I can't seem to find the courage to talk to her. Every time I see her with another man, it feels unbearable. How can I win her heart?" The old man smiled softly, his gaze still focused on your heart is water. Like this river, always moving. Sometimes fast, sometimes slow. But no matter how fiercely the river flows, it always reaches the sea. If you try to hold it back, the river will overflow and cause destruction. If you try too hard to control your heart, it will only become more unsettled. Vishwa didn't fully understand the old man's words right away, but he felt his heart grow a little lighter. Act 3. A conversation with himself. In the days that followed, Vishwa thought back often to the old man's words. He began to reflect on his relationship with Ananda, rethinking the urgency he once felt. He no longer forced himself to speak to her. Instead, he simply appreciated her presence from afar, noticing that his heart gradually began to feel more at ease. One day, Vishwa realized something profound had shifted within him. The intense longing and jealousy that once ruled his thoughts had given way to a new feeling. He no longer obsessed over being with her but instead wished for her happiness, whatever form that might take. Perhaps, if she finds happiness with someone else, that's what's truly best for her. Maybe real love means accepting that. As he pondered this, his heart grew calm, no longer driven by selfish desire and realization. One day, Bishwa and Ananda unexpectedly crossed paths in the village playing with the children, as usual, laughing joyfully in the warm sunlight. This time, Bishwa approached her without the usual rush of fear or anxiety. When Ananda noticed him, she smiled warmly and called out to him, "Bishwa, I haven't seen you much lately. How have you been?" Bishwa smiled back and nodded. "I've been well. I've had a lot on my mind, but I feel more at peace now." Ananda seemed a bit surprised but didn't push for details. Instead, she responded gently, "That's good to hear. I've also had my own things to think about. But I'm grateful for the time I get to spend here with everyone." Bishwa listened to her words. And for a moment, he considered how he might have reacted before, but now, he simply smiled back at her. No longer feeling the need to impress or possess her. He was content. "Seeing you happy brings me peace. Thank you." With those words, he quietly walked away, leaving Ananda to enjoy the rest of her day. No longer did he feel the urge to make her his own. Her happiness was enough to fill his heart with serenity. Epilogue: The Path of the Wind. Bishwa returned to his daily life, working as before in his family business. His feelings for Ananda remained, but they no longer tormented him. Instead, they gave him a sense of calm, allowing him to focus on the present moment without anxiety. He never returned to see the old man by the river, but the memory of their conversation stayed with him. That moment had planted a seed in his heart, and slowly, but surely, it had transformed him from within. Like the wind, everything flows, and no one can stop it from going where it must. Bishwa had learned the value of letting things take their natural course, embracing the moments as they came, and respecting the choices others made in their lives. The love he once felt as a burning desire had become a gentle, quiet breeze in his heart instead of pain.